Minister, Newbridge in County Kildare is a town that has seen really significant population growth in recent years. Our population standing now at over 22,500 leads us to be the biggest town in County Kildare and the 10th biggest town in all of Ireland, with the potential for further sustainable growth and development through already planned developments as well as land zoned in other areas. But our town faces challenges. And the main challenge we face in Newbridge is that of traffic and how our main street is choked with congestion. Kildare County Council have a proposal. They've identified a site for a second bridge over the River Liffey that is really, really important. And this, along with road construction, would see a linking between Great Connell Road and the Garvin Road. But while Kildare County Council still need to acquire planning permission for the bridge, some of the road linkages are being delivered through private sector developments as part of ongoing planning permissions. Minister, as you are well aware, Project Ireland 2040, Government's national plan for how our country develops between now and 2040, acknowledges the direct pressure that's on areas like mine and yours in Kildare and Meath, areas that saw huge growth during a very short period of time with the Celtic Tiger, and that a lot of housing developments were built where the key infrastructure needed around it wasn't built at the same speed and capacity. And Project Ireland 2040 identifies the need to support areas like yours and mine where we can play that level of catch-up. And Newbridge is a perfect example of that. We need to see that key investment in key infrastructure, and the return will be the return on investment for the state will be very tangible for all to see. I'm mindful of the fact that the next round of the Urban Regeneration and Development Fund is due to open soon, and I'm looking to raise this to see what steps do Kildare County Council need to take to strengthen their application from the last one, to look at how we can put a second bridge for Newbridge as a top priority for that application. In the proposal that was previously made, it looked to identify to reduce traffic congestion out of the town centre and off of our main street, and it also will complement other projects that have been developed and that are being worked on at present. So we have seen a grant allocation through the UDRF towards the development of a cultural quarter in Newbridge, and this is the lower end of the town, closer to the river, where we will see, and it will complement the redevelopment hopefully of our county grounds in St Conleth's Park, the refurbishment of our town hall which has happened, and the planned upgrade of Riverbank Arts Centre and the development of a state-of-the-art library in that sector. All of those elements are being funded through Project Ireland 2040 and the ongoing plans for that development of that cultural quarter. The other side of Newbridge, further away from the river, sees a thriving retail hub all around the Whitewater Shopping Centre, and our main street has benefited from that. But our side streets can take more capacity, can take more investment, and all of this comes from making sure that we have a sustainable traffic plan for the future. So, in that regard, I would like to see that we can work on these projects, because the National Transport Authority have a national transport framework developed for Newbridge, and what this looks to do is it plans to make Newbridge Main Street more accessible to pedestrians, cyclists and public transport. The project could result in an investment of €10 million from the NTA into Newbridge, and the proposed improvements would see the displacement of traffic off the main street, but the delivery of a second bridge is absolutely crucial for that, and the improvements would result in a reduction of our carbon footprint as well, allowing more residents within the town to move within the town, by cycling, for pedestrians, but also to make sure that we take the traffic away. And that also then is identified in the previous application from Kildare County Council to help compact and consolidated development on the zoned lands in Newbridge's south-east quadrant. So this bridge makes sense on a whole realm of different areas, and I just want to put it to you how best we can get Kildare County Council to put the best foot forward for the next round of funding for the UDRF.
Minister English is 4 minutes.
Thanks, Corla. First of all, I want to thank Deputy Martin Heydon for raising the need for a second bridge for Newbridge, County Kildare over the River Liffey to be progressed through our Project 2040 and through the Urban Generation Development Fund as well. And again, to give me the opportunity to discuss that today and to outline how I believe and how we believe as a government that Project 2040 can help causes like this and can help through the Urban Regeneration Development Fund achieve vital infrastructure like the bridge I just outlined and other pieces of infrastructure as well. Again, you're right to say that under Project Ireland 2040, which sets out the plan for the next 20-25 years of this country, where we're going to try and rebalance growth in terms of population growth and rebalance housing construction with all the other services required as well, that it won't just happen on the East Coast, which happened in Meath and Kildare and many other places in Dublin, but it will happen right throughout the country with that regional balance. But an important part of that is while accommodating future developments in all our counties, and there will be growth still in all our counties as well, and Meath and Kildare will see additional growth, but also that we rectify some of the mistakes of the past. And a key part of Project Ireland 2040 was recognising that in many areas, certainly in probably the Greater Dublin region of Kildare, Meath, Wicklow and probably Louth as well, you can see examples where increased housing developments and all the pressures that brought with it wasn't matched with the infrastructure required and wasn't matched with the services required. And that's recognised under Project Ireland 2040, and we want to try to correct that through the various funds, as well as allow for more development and more compact development, and develop all those back streets that you prepared to in all our towns and villages as well, and those brownfield sites that aren't necessarily being used very well. So again, what is the Urban Regeneration Development Fund and how can it help here? The UDRF is a flagship element of Project Ireland 2040. It comprises an allocation of €2 billion in the National Development Plan to 2027, with €58 million available in 2019 and an overall executive allocation of €550 million earmarked for the fund up to the end of 2022. The URDF was established to support more compact and sustainable development, and sustainable is the key word when it comes to Newbridge as well, through the regeneration and rejuvenation of Ireland's 5 cities and other large towns like Newbridge, in line with the objectives of the National Planning Framework and the National Development Plan. This is to enable a greater proportion of residential and mixed-use development to be delivered within the existing built-up footprints of our cities and towns, and to ensure that more parts of our urban areas can become attractive and vibrant places in which people choose to live and work, as well as to invest and to visit. And as a key part here is trying to go back into areas which did experience development and housing development. And as you said, Newbridge now is 22,500, quite a large population. We want to try to make that a more attractive place, and a more place that people want to live in, raise their families in, but also to help you win investment, win jobs, to support people who are already living there and who will be living in the future as well. And it's important that we get that right. And we know that by investing through these funds, we are making our towns and villages and cities more attractive and more secure. And this is about future-proofing our communities, our neighbourhoods, our towns and our villages as well, and that's what we're trying to achieve here. The bids were invited from the public bodies for funding under the fund, and a total of 189 applications were received by my department in the first call for proposals earlier in 2018. On November 18, Minister Murphy announced the initial URDF support of €100 million for a total of 88 projects throughout the country. The applications received that time contained a wide variety of themes and sectorial areas, from urban regeneration and public realm works to enabling strategic infrastructure to leverage further development and cultural and amenity development. Applications received fell into 2 categories. Firstly, projects that are ready to go, that had planning are ready to go. Secondly, funding to support the initial development of projects, i.e. master planning feasibility, to ensure a pipeline of projects into the future. So again, naturally, you asked me what can Kildare do. Kildare did submit 7 the last time. One of those 7 was Newbridge. It wasn't successful that time. It was the link road and the bridge from Great Connon Road to Atgarvan Road in Newbridge. It didn't achieve full marks or full reward on that. And you mentioned that going for planning. Yes, if it had planning, it would certainly help that. But also, there is funding on the project on the B to be able to help you progress that planning, progress the study, the markability of that, the feasibility, which was the case in Selbridge as well, that in Kildare. And then you can use that funding to make the project to proof of concept and bring it through the various planning stages to have it ready for funding on the Section A as well. So there's 2 options there with this fund that would suit this project. And if Kildare make another application, the applications will be open again in the near future, before the end of this year. And Kildare should make an application on that, and hopefully it will be successful this time.
Deputy Heydon has 2 minutes.
Thanks, Corlin. Thank you, Minister, for your detailed response. And look, I take your points of view on board, and I will work. I'm delighted to hear that the Urban Regeneration Fund will open up for applications again before the end of the year, and I will work closely with officials in Kildare County Council, as I have done up until now, to make sure we put our best foot forward for Newbridge and for a second bridge for Newbridge, because I do believe that a second bridge for Newbridge meets the objectives of the National Planning Framework, as you've outlined. That's sustainable, balanced development. It ticks all of those boxes. And when we consider in Newbridge that we have a pot of money there from the NTA of potentially €10 million for them to use Newbridge as a pilot scheme to develop an overall transport framework that could then be rolled out as a template across other provincial towns. This is a massive opportunity for us, and we can't let that opportunity be wasted, because we do need a second bridge to really allow that plan work in its entirety. And Project Ireland is about, as you have said, making our towns and our counties better places to live. And many of my constituents in Newbridge aspire not to have to travel up the M7 or on the overcrowded trains out of Newbridge every day, and instead to be able to work locally in their area. And a second bridge over the River Liffey would make Newbridge an even more attractive place for industry to invest in. We have jobs there at the minute, we have industry and investment, but we yearn for more, to give more options to our residents to live there. I take on board your point of view that if the bridge had planning, it would definitely help, and maybe there are some ways we can further that in Kildare, as we have furthered the sections of road being developed privately. Maybe there's a possibility for us to be able to do that as well with a bridge, but we will continue to do the work on that. And Minister, I would just like to wrap up by saying maps dating back to 1752, drawn up before the town was started, marks the Newbridge area in the vicinity of Old Connell, and that gave its name to Droichead Nua. Hundreds of years later, our needs are very different, but the demand and the pressure on our town is really, really significant. Newbridge or nowhere requires a second bridge, or our traffic will have nowhere to go off the main street as it presently is congested. And I believe the benefits for all of the residents and for the wider socio-economic environment in the Greater Newbridge, South Kildare area would really benefit from this investment, and I look forward to an application going into you in the near future.
Final response.
You're making a strong case there for the next round of funding for Newbridge and for this piece of infrastructure, bridge with road as well. It's important again that Kildare, I understand they have engaged with the officials of my department since the previous round, where they weren't successful for all the projects, although they had some success as well in other areas. But it is important that they would make a second application, make it as strong as possible, highlight all the issues you just highlighted yourself: the growth of the town, the potential of growth of the town, the spaces that could still be used for compact development, for more housing development, but also more development of community services, and again, going back to the key word of winning jobs to match the existing houses that are there and the existing population. And that's what these funds are. On the project Ireland 2040, what we're trying to achieve here is something that always happened in the past in this country, is to set out long-term plans, but to back those plans up and to actually make them happen on the ground by putting real money behind them. Because there's no point in having long-term planning, long-term thinking, if you don't back it up with the finances. And for the first time, with the National Development Plan, the National Planning Framework, we have the development plan of a 10-year capital of money, which is taxpayers' money of about 116 billion, that is being spent and will be spent. And if you review over the first 18 months of Project Ireland 2040, you can see that happening. We can see where projects are part of a national plan. And it's very, very important that when local authorities are making applications to these funds, they align them to their national objectives, strongly aligned with local objectives, and proof of concept here that this will allow for, again, to enable a greater proportion of residential and mixed-use development to be delivered within the existing build-up footprints of our cities and towns, which is exactly what you're outlined there in Newbridge. There is the opportunity. It might correct some of the mistakes of the past as well, and free up space and land for development for the future. And that's key. And to make those links very, very clear. And hopefully then Kildare will do that in the next round of funding, which again, I'm happy to clarify that funding application should be and will be open for the end of this year as well.
Very good. We'll move on to the final topical. In the names of Deputy O'Snuddy and Joan Collins, I call on Deputy O'Snuddy, who has 2 minutes.
Margaret, I want to first of all commend the bravery of the